Hey, what's going on, guys? Lord MC here. Did we eat today or what? I definitely ate. Um, it was a good day for me in the market. I did mention yesterday's video, if you watch yesterday's video, that the price action that came in yesterday was fake and that it was going to be a giant bull trap, and that's exactly what played out today in the market. So before I get into the gritty nitty, I wanted to first say that I'm not a financial advisor. Anything I say is not financial advice, so take everything with a grain of salt. I'm going to talk quickly over on the indices and a few tickers, and as well as some of the plays I got in. So let's jump into the SPY 1-day chart here. So if you watch my previous video, I did mention yesterday's price action on the SPY here was fake, and that bulls were going to get trapped, and that's exactly what played out. During pre-market, I do believe all the futures were down about negative 1.3%. As I remember, I did wait for pre-market 1 a.m. PST here to see how that opened up, and essentially it played out all through GDP. When GDP data came out, GDP did come out negative, so that is 3 consecutive negative quarter GDPs. So that's very bad for the market. The market reacted to that, and it did go lower by going negative 2.09% on the SPY for the day. It hit lows of 359.70, where it closed just at 362.79. So briefly wanted to go over GDP. So 3 negative quarters here in a row is a little concerning, right? The last time we had, I believe, 6 negative GDP quarters was the 2008 market crash. Now, I'm not comparing anything to previous history, but that's just a little note we have to take here of where we currently are in the markets. So what happened today here? This June low is still being, we did close above June low on the SPY here at 362.17. We closed at 362.79. We did test 359.70. There's also a gap fill right here, gap down here between 358 and 359.23. So we still haven't touched that gap here. We are waiting tomorrow for the big inflation number. That is PCE. So what do I see happening for tomorrow? If PCE comes out bad, I do think we're going to come down to fill this gap at 358. Losing 358 would have a cascading effect on the market if there is no support where we're currently at. If I jump over to the 2-day here on this bullish shark pattern, the hop is at 357. Let me see, I think it's a 3-day. Yeah, you see a 3-day here on this deep crab pattern. Target 2 would be a level of support at 345. I do believe we have some type of support here on the weekly at the 200 SMA, which is also coincidentally at that gap fill. So losing the 200 SMA on the weekly would be very bad for SPY. We will see what that does tomorrow. So one of the two things that can happen tomorrow, right? If PCE comes out bullish, I do expect this type of movement short term, right? Because nothing right now that's going on in the market is actually any indication of going back to test like 420s or 400s anytime soon. So I do believe if a one case scenario we have to actually see the bullish side of this, that we possibly maybe retest this gap down here and then come back up short term and possibly test 381 before we continue the next leg down, right? Maybe have a double top here and come back down, something like this, right? This would be almost a double top from here and then come back down. So we will see if that wants to play out, but that's essentially the one first case scenario that I would see. There's a lot of resistance here at 371, and the next level will be at 373 of this gap fill here. There's a lot of resistance here. Every time you can tell here the bears have stepped up at 371 and have brought it down, and bulls have stepped up here at support at 362. So First case scenario would be we come back down, test this 371, and then test 373, which would create this kind of double top for the next leg down, right? This would reset a lot of RSI and all these bearish indicators. So that's one case scenario. The second case scenario is if PCE is bad, we just come back down and then just straight down. I don't know where that would find the bottom, or it would just create a new lower low and then bounce up, right? So depending on it's all depending on PCE data. So quickly again, levels of support for tomorrow would be where it's at. This June low is 362, then 358. I do have 351 being a target for SPY here for support, and then after that just a knife cascading effect. Levels of resistance, if you're playing it to the upside, would be 371 and then 373, and if it continues past that, it would be 381. So jumping over to the triple Qs. The triple Qs did close almost negative 3% for the day. It went negative 2.88%. It did lose here this 275 horizontal line that I have. It tested all the way down to 268.84. It did close at 271.87. There is a key level here where it did just close above this June low still. So I am targeting this this area here for the triple Qs. If it goes down to 265 here tomorrow for PCE, we can consider maybe going further down. RSI is still not oversold. AMP HSI is going back to the midline, but it could get rejected here and come back down. So we will see where that opens up. Jumping over to the Dow Jones. The Dow Jones was negative 1.52% for the day. It closed at 292.21. As you can see here, it did test XA at 290, where there's a strong level of support here. So it did generate a butterfly on the 1 day. There is a gap fill here at 298 to 300, where if you're playing it to the upside, this is a strong level of resistance, 298 and 300. If you're playing it to the downside here, you'll be looking at hop at 284, which is also where this gap down is at 289 to 284. So depending again on PCE, we could possibly PCE data coming with bad news. We can potentially see this gap down and maybe testing below hop, possibly even touching this descending broadening wedge, which is not that far off, about 6%, negative 6.5% for it to touch the descending broadening wedge on the bottom of this trend line. So we will see what that does tomorrow. Jumping over to the VIX. The VIX did close 4 days now above 30. It closed today at 31.83. It was up 5.53% for the day, where it went as high as 33.46. So I do have this horizontal line at 35, where it could quickly shoot up tomorrow, maybe even past 40 if PCE is bad. So there's definitely some indecision here, but noted by this almost half-ass looking doji here, where we don't know where it's going to happen. So I think tomorrow is just people are institutions are just waiting for tomorrow and the PCE data to come out. So one thing to note, that anything above 30 on the VIX is bearish for the market. We would kind of want to be below 25 for any bullish case scenario. Jumping over to Microsoft. So Microsoft did close down negative 1.48% for the day. I did get into puts yesterday, and these printed pretty well today. After I dollar cost my position here, these went up to 60+% profit for the day. One thing to note here, that it did close at 237.50. I have this horizontal line at 230. For if it falls down below that, we could see a cascading effect on Microsoft. It is approaching. Let's see. I think it's on the 1 week. Yeah, the 1 week would be to 200 EMA at 221, where If PC did it again, we could have a cascading effect. But if you're playing it to the upside here, Microsoft, if you're playing to the bullish case, you need to be above 240 and then 242 to have any continuation of a reversal. So levels of resistance 240 and 242, and then for support would be at below 230 here. Jumping over to Apple. Apple finally started to come down of this 148 here. This level that I had here is horizontal line. It did open, I think it was almost down negative 3% at pre-market. So it did close today negative 4, almost 5%, negative 5% for the day. It closed negative 4.91%. It went as low as 140.68. It closed the day at 142.48. Apple has no signs of support where it's currently at. This bearish harmonic here, this harmonic shark pattern here, it's doing this type 1 reaction, where at the completion of point C, it's coming back down. It just tested terminal, came back down, tested 152, and it's now looking like it wants to test 134.51. I did buy also puts the night before because I knew exactly that yesterday's price action was a bull trap, and I got rewarded today for that. These 142 puts that I bought went over, I believe, 115%. So I did open a new position here on Apple for longer dated puts for the 135 strike price, which would be where this target 2 level is, at 134.41. I do think that Apple has more downside. I think it also is at, finally Apple is at entered the bear market here from all-time highs to where it's currently at. It's back at 22, down 22%, I think, almost for the year. So it is in bear market territory finally. So this can have a drastic effect on the market in general, on the Nasdaq and the SPY here. I wanted to quickly share what levels of support here are for Apple, because on the harmonic pattern here, it's saying the next level would be 134, but there is some support here. So I wanted to turn so you could find those supports with more harmonic patterns from previous patterns. So I'm going to minimize pattern overlap and then mute overlap patterns. Now if we go back here to this crab pattern that was formed in November of 21, if we take the fib retracement tool here of point A here to point D, remember the 886 is a very key important level in harmonics, right? Well, in this pattern, for example, the crab here is at the 1.618, so essentially this would kind of be a level on this harmonic pattern where Apple could possibly go to $85.63. A lot of people are eyeing even $70, but I'm gonna be more realistic here. At 886 would be a level where I will be watching. That if it falls below that, be very concerning. So if we're looking just at this crab pattern for any levels of support between where it's currently at 142 to 134, there's clearly no signs of support. At 135 would be it, right? That's essentially where target 2 is. So we would look at maybe looking at the weekly, see where the EMAs and SMAs are. We're kind of below the 50 EMA right now. The next level of support would be the 200 EMA at 116. So it's a far away move for that to happen this week. So I'm looking at the 3-day here level of support, that's 200 SMA at 138. So 138 and then 135 would be levels of support. If you're playing Apple to the upside here, the next level of support would be to go back above 145, then 148, and lastly 150. But from what it looks like, guys, you just look at the look at the chart. This is a clear downtrend, and we'll see where that opens up tomorrow with PCE. just from the harmonic pattern right here, RSI is not oversold yet. HSI still has room to go. AMP RSI is approaching these oversold areas. So Apple is going to be on my watch list. I do have positions open for 1021 for 135 puts, so I did go in heavy on those because we are approaching also here a death cross on the EMAs, the 50 being blue and the 200 being the 200 EMA. So we'll see if that takes us down to 134 and below. Jumping over real quick to Tesla. Good old Tesla. Tesla here closed bad on the market. Closed negative 6.81% for the day at 268.21 of this bearish butterfly pattern, where it's looking like it's going to go to target 1 at 253.25, where it has a gap fill here between 250 and 254ish. So RSI, it's not oversold yet. HSI as well, on RSI still has room to go down. One key level, if we jump over to the weekly, the weekly is below the 200 the 50 EMA here on this almost inverted candle here for the week. So this is going to be interesting to see where Tesla goes. On the 3-day, does have a bad pattern. It did its type 1 reaction and is possibly now doing its type 2. So the 3-day is looking a little bit more gruesome here, where it wants to target XA at 208.79. So if you are playing here Tesla, the levels of support would be here at 258 for the 200 EMA. And yeah, 258 would be levels of support where I would have Tesla go to if it wants to bounce off. Tesla is also approaching a death cross here. 50 EMA is curling down over the 200 EMA. So yeah, it's looking like it wants to go to 253, target 1 of this bearish butterfly pattern. So jumping over to something I got in for earnings that is nicely playing out. Hopefully IV crush doesn't hurt us by open tomorrow. Nike did fall down almost I think it was negative almost 10% in earnings. So during after hours, it's currently down 84.41. I bought $90 puts before close, so hopefully I get rewarded for that tomorrow. So jumping back over to the SPY. Tomorrow's on high alert here on SPY. The market in general. Are we going to create lower lows here tomorrow in the market? We'll see. Tomorrow could be an event where if PCE's data, we can capitulate. We can capitulate before midterms and then bounce, right? But we will see. If PCE comes in a little bit bullish, then I do think we're going to have a short-term relief bounce up in this area, create a double top, and then come back and finally come down November, December, if that's what the market wants to do. So the market doesn't care what I think, so just play day by day and just be vigilant tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be very, very volatile. So that is all I have for you guys. If you guys want to follow me on my Twitch tomorrow, I'll be streaming right before market opens. So my Twitch channel is in the description box. So if you like this type of content, please consider giving me a like and subscribe to the channel. It does help me out. So good luck, guys, and see you tomorrow.